everyone, welcome back to my channel. So if you saw my video about all of the new stuff that I've been picking up over the course of the summer, you will know that I have a lot of new stuff to play with that I'm really excited to dig into, and I thought now is the perfect time to do that. So today we're going to be playing with the Giorgio Armani bronzer. I love this packaging so much. We're going to play with the new highlighter that I picked up from Makeup by Mario, the blush that I picked up from Amazon from Wet n Wild, and then, of course, like I could resist showing you the new Blend Bunny Cosmetics Longing Palette. So if you are curious as to how I got this lovely face of makeup, you are in the right place. But before we jump into that, if this is your first time with us, welcome. My name is Ashley. I am a beauty enthusiast and probably an over shopper that also likes to project pan. So if those are things that sound interesting to you, I hope that you'll consider subscribing. And without any additional rambling, because there's going to be more of that in your future, stay tuned and we'll jump right on in. All right, so as usual, we are going to be starting with the eyes. As you can see, I've already done one, so you have an idea of what we're going to be doing here. And we are going to be using my Blend Bunny Cosmetics Longing Palette. This is such a pretty palette, and I think it's going to be really nice, especially for like the winter, but also going into fall a little bit. So stinking pretty. And I love that we've gone back to the different gradient rows. I just find that that makes it so easy to not have to think when I go into an eyeshadow palette. Now, obviously, you don't have to do a monochromatic look. You can do you and jump around all you like. But sometimes when I don't know what I want to do, this just does the work for me. So we are going to be using this row of purples right here because I really wanted to play with the shade Love Letters. It is this really beautiful shifty color. It's got blue and purple and silver. Oh, it is just so stinking pretty. So we're going to do that today. All right, I'm going to start by taking my B5 and jumping into Twist of Fate. Just to give you an idea, we are going to be following the gradient and just going from top to bottom to build out this look because, again, it's easy to not have to think about it. Now, these Blend Bunny brushes are ones that I've talked about in the past, and I really love their shape and size. So these are some of my absolute go-tos, especially since I have hooded eyes, and they seem to be getting more and more hooded the older I get. Like, I've noticed it a good bit more, and I love how much control I have with these brushes. Just make my life easier, and I don't know about you, but anything that makes life easier is something that I'm going to wholeheartedly embrace. So I'm not taking this too high. I don't want it to get out of control, but also I find, at least with me personally, as I start building in shades, I tend to blend a little bit higher and higher. So this gives me the most room to work with. Now, taking a B3, also from Blend Bunny, I'm going to go into the shade Pleading, which is this mid-tone dusty purple right here. And I'm just going to use that to start defining the crease even further and really hollowing out that socket. I mean, they just blend so nicely into each other. I mean, obviously, they're such a high quality brand, but gosh, if you're looking for a really easy eyeshadow formula to work with, this is going to be your girl. All right, we're going to leave it there just for the moment, and then using this Sugar Drizzle brush, I'm going to go into the deepest shade called Take Me Back, and I'm going to use that just to really define the outer corner and to make that nice shape that I'm looking for. I typically use a bit of a tapping motion, especially with deeper mattes, so that you can get its full opacity. And I feel like for me that works well. I love this brush in particular for working with mattes in the outer corner because it comes to a bit of a tapered point, and it really helps me kind of get into that little fold right there, which for me at least, I have trouble with balding with eyeshadow. Sometimes I feel like it doesn't stick as well, and this brush really helps me with that. Yeah, I think that's probably about where I want it to be. And then just going kind of back and forth with some of the brushes that I started with, just to kind of make sure that I get a really nice blend. Now taking my NYX glitter primer, I am going to go ahead and put a tacky base down. I do this with all of the shimmer shades that I use, regardless of brand or formula. I just find for me, it really helps. I think I got a little bit too much going on here. All right, that looks good. Then I have this flat Japanese brush that is one of my all-time favorites. I don't even know if they make it anymore. It's the 230. But look, oh, I really appreciate that with Blend Bunny's formula, I can pick up shimmers on a brush and I don't have to use my finger. I just love that. And look how pretty and impactful this shade is. It is gorgeous. I love this shade so much. Now I'm only going to take it to probably about here, and I'm going to go in with a lighter shade closer to the inner corner, sort of mix the two together. Just flipping my brush over, I'm going to go into all that's left, which is this very, very bright silver. Just pick a little bit of it up and stick it right to the inside and then blend those two together. That's very, very pretty. That is very, very pretty. I love how shiny and sparkly these are. They're not too wet, not too emollient. They're the perfect texture. I know I have spoken before about Blend Bunny and I just gush every single time. It's just because they're so good. They're so good. I think that is about where I want it to be. So let's go ahead and move on to some complexion products. Foundation, concealer, powder, and brows are all on. Nothing really new there, just all items that I am project panning. But now let's do the under eyes, going back into our Longing palette. I'm going to take this little ColourPop brush. It is the E28, and I'm going to again just go into Twist of Fate, which is that first lightest shade that we started with, and I'm just going to use this as a base underneath my eyes. Really all we're doing is mirroring what we did on the top of the lid, not trying to reinvent the wheel here. But I do want to help maintain that shape, so I don't want to get too wild and crazy. In addition to having hooded eyes, they also are downturned eyes. So I try to bring them up just a little bit, but sometimes I am more effective at that than others, right? And then into pleating, I'm only gonna go part way. I'm gonna have a much lighter hand. And again, just like with the top, I want to keep most of the darkness centered around the edge. So I'm not going to go all the way in because I want to keep my inner corner nice and bright. And then finally, taking this little Zoeva brush, really pointy, I'm going to go in to Take Me Back. And I'm just going to dip in slightly and run it right against the lash line. How pretty. I've been doing a lot more sort of simple looks. This past summer really got away from me. I know I have alluded to that. Like nothing bad happened or anything, but I am a dreamer and I don't think that's a stretch of the imagination. But what that also can oftentimes mean is that I have a lot of ideas, but I don't always have the best of planning. And that certainly extended to the kids being home for the summer. I had all of these grand ideas about how we were going to fill our time, and none of it really happened because that's just me. That's just me. So I like the way the eyes turned out. What do you think? So as I said, everything that I'm wearing to this point on my complexion is just Project Panning stuff. But you know I have some new stuff to play with, and the first of which I am so excited about. I revealed this when I talked about all the stuff that I purchased over the summer when I was planning to do things but not actually following through on them. It is the bronzer from Giorgio Armani. I have been eyeballing this on the Sephora website since I initially saw it. But seeing it in person, getting to swatch it, getting to see how big it is, ooh, it really just set me over the edge. So I have not used it yet. Using my really humongous Sephora bronzer brush. Just laying it down. I love a good glowy bronzer. I mean, not too glowy, obviously. I know that Ilia, I want to say, just released a very bronzy or glowy bronzer that has not been getting the best of reviews. So, yes, you can get too glowy, but I think this one is going to look nice. I've gotten a little heavy-handed because I was talking, so let's go ahead and make sure to get this blended out. Also, I don't think I powdered as much as I probably should have. And in all honesty, the powder that I used was my Givenchy Prism Libre. And I have started like madly conserving it because I love it so much. And then they went and just destroyed it. I mean, I can't truly say that because I have not tried the new formulation, but I have seen how shimmery or reflective, I suppose, it is, because apparently they replaced all of the talc in it with mica. And I'm fine with going talc free. Like, that is not something that I'm against by any means, obviously. But mica, ooh, just not loving the choices that were made there. I do really quite like the way that this bronzer is looking. It is, and I knew it would be, it is very golden for me. I usually err on a different side, but I mean, it's the name of it is not printed on here, but I knew that this shade would be pulling much more golden. But when I swatched it, it wasn't pulling orange, and that is true here as well. It's just pulling a little bit. I mean, yellow is golden, obviously, but it has almost an oliveness to it, which I don't hate. I think it looks really nice. I am curious though how it's gonna balance with the blush I was planning on using. So this is the Wet n Wild Date or Dominate. I picked this up from Amazon during the Amazon Prime days and realized quickly that I probably should have just gotten it off of the Wet n Wild website because it's listed there for less than when I bought it on sale through Amazon. This is why it's important to comparison shop. But I just loved the tone that this has, or at least it appeared to have in the picture. And I thought this brush was super cute. I mean, I'm sure you can buy the brush on its own. But this is the Date or Dominate blush in the shade Code Dominate. And it's a pretty bright pinky coral, which I do very much like. I just am not 100% sure how it's going to play with a very yellow toned golden bronzer. Sorry, I can't talk. A, I'm very much out of practice, but B, I am a bit distracted today. Oh, there we go. Got some of that on. Oh, that's pretty. I don't like this brush though. It's a little too floppy. I'm wondering if maybe washing it would help since I clearly just took it out of the package. But that's pretty. I am definitely going to go over it a little bit with a different brush. I'm going to take this one here from Sona Kashuk and my Kosas Cloud Set in the shade Airy, just to help diffuse that out just a little bit and tone it down slightly. If your blush is ever looking a little too wild or too heavy, This powder, it is so blurring and so beautiful. And it just honestly makes everything look better. Like, look at that. Immediately, just immediately. I don't typically use this on my whole face to set, but to go in and do a little bit of maintenance, I do like it quite a bit for that. So if I get like out of control with my bronzer or my blush or something, a little bit of this, perfection. I love it. And I do like this color. I do think it is sitting nicely, especially with the eye color. And I think now that I've added a little bit of powder, it plays a little bit more nicely with the bronzer. I think it's just that yellowy tone was kind of throwing me off. Again, it's not a bad thing. It's just not something that I have in my collection very much of. And so it was kind of throwing me for a loop. But I think it's looking really nice. And for my highlighter, oh, I have not been able to put this down. It's very pretty. It is the Soft Glow highlighter in the shade Opal from Makeup by Mario. It looks just so white in the pan, but it goes on so nicely. I don't get any like sparkle. It doesn't make it look ashy. It just makes it look wet and beautiful. I'm in love with this so much. Like, look at that. I don't know if you can see it, but I can sure see it. And this is, for me, one of those highlighters that is pretty undetectable. So you don't ever see like a stripe or something when you turn your head or something. Like, I have some highlighters that are really beautiful but can be terribly obvious. And that's sometimes the look that you're going for, but this just looks so lovely. So lovely and understated. Everyone wants to use that lip from within. And this doesn't really accomplish a lip from within because it's a little too icy for that, but I think it is absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. Ooh, I'm very happy with how this is going. I do need to apply mascara, but before we do that, what do we think about the lip? So the 3 new lip products that I have might be a bit of a wrong tone. So I have this beautiful sort of sheer coral red from the Sephora House collection. So that is what that looks like. Honestly, now that I'm looking at it, this would be kind of a cute, like, monochromatic moment. Look at that. Yeah, those look real similar. I also have from Fenty, we have one of the Gloss Bomb sticks. I have mine in the shade Riri, and I've been getting a ton of usage out of this. So that is what she looks like right there. But still, I feel like it's too warm. I think that's what I'm having trouble with, because I feel like all of these are kind of too warm for what it is that I'm wearing right now. Or this one, I feel like from Colfi, it's not nearly as warm, but I feel like it might be too much. So, okay, here's what we're going to do instead. I know, so boring because I use this all the time, but I feel like it will sit a little bit more nicely. I know, I'm going to go in with my YSL in the shade Nude Trench, Beige Trench. Just kidding, it's N1, and I love this. Yeah. Probably should have used a lip liner, but yes, I think that complements everything really nicely. This is just a go-to for me. Okay, I'm going to put on mascara, and then we'll come back and talk about everything that I used today. All right, so here we have the final look. I did decide to go back and add a little bit of lip liner. I felt like I just really needed it. I went in with my Lisa Eldridge. This is the Sculpt and Shade Lip Pencil in the shade N1. And then, of course, mascara. I used my L'Oreal Panorama mascara. I've been using this for most of the summer, and I really do quite like it. And then I felt like I needed a little bit more, so I used one of my Kaleidos multi-chrome eyeliners. This one is in the shade Sea Sparkle. It is a purpley, silvery blue sort of goodness, and I feel like it just added that extra next level to this eye look. I feel like everything came together really, really nicely. So let's go ahead and talk about all of the new items that I used today. The first of which is the Blend Bunny Cosmetics Longing Palette. It will come as no surprise to literally anyone that I love this palette. I have been a rabid fan of Blend Bunny since I got the very first palette that I purchased from them, and I've picked up just about everything else since, and you cannot go wrong. If you love this color story and you think that you'll get some good usage out of it, I cannot recommend it more highly. It is very consistent. The mattes are beautiful, blendable, and pigmented. The shimmers are incredible. And I just don't have enough amazing things to say about it. So very, very happy with how these eyes came out. Moving on to complexion, let's talk about the bronzer. So overall, I'm on the fence. And it's only because of the color. It's just very different from anything else that I own. So I'm just not sure how to feel about it until I use it some more. As far as the formula goes, I felt like it applied really, really nicely. It blended really, really nicely. It played very well with the blush and the bronzer and the highlighter and the powder, and everything together worked really nicely. I'm just on the fence about the color, and that's a me problem, not an it problem. So the jury is still out. As far as the blush goes, I like this color. I really do. I don't think I gave a swatch of it. But I mean, she's bright. She's pretty. She's a really pretty pinky coral, which I know that is what coral is a pinky orangey pink. But I really like the way that it applied. It was very silky. It was very pigmented. I'm not so sure I love the brush. I'm going to wash it and see, because right now it's really like squashed. And I'm not sure if that's how it was designed. I mean, the ferrule is kind of pinched right here, or if it's just from being in the box. So I'm going to wash it, see how I feel about it. And I'm going to continue to play with this blush using different brushes. But overall, I think it's really pretty, very silky, nicely pigmented. It did not go on patchy in any way. And especially once I added a little bit of the powder, it blended so nicely. And I think it looks really, really pretty on my cheeks. I've been going for brighter blushes recently, so I think this will find a nice home. And then, of course, the highlighter from Makeup by Mario. Again, I am very bad about like leaving you on bated breath. You know how I feel about everything because I just can't keep my giddiness to myself. This is such a lovely highlighter, and I've been using it very, very regularly since picking it up, and I only have wonderful things to say about it. So those are the new things that I played with today. If you saw my video about all of the things that I picked up over the summer, then you'll know I have more stuff to show you, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And if you've made it all the way to the end, thank you so much. I love you guys more than I can possibly ever say. If you've enjoyed this video, I hope that you'll give it a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing before you leave. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I hope that you're having an amazing day, and I will see you next time. Bye.